Welcome back to another episode of Critically Incorrect, your weekly game podcast. I'm your host, Brandon, or online here today with Charlie if you wanted to say hi.
Hello.
And Wondering Labs as a special guest.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, pretty special episode here, as you can see by the title of it. This is probably the last episode of Critically Incorrect. Still a question mark. It might be rebooted with like a separate host, but the main reason is that Charlie is leaving to pursue other ventures. Charlie, I'm not going to take this from you, so you can explain everything. Here you go.
Yeah, so I mean, anyone that knows me, like, outside of just watching the podcast and stuff, knows that I went to uni to do, like, game studies and stuff. I've been trying to get into the industry for probably just over a year now. And basically, I got a job offer from Rockstar Games, so I'm going to be working as a game tester for Rockstar Lincoln. I start there on the 19th, so when you're seeing this, just over a week, basically. But because of that, I'm not going to be able to do the podcast anymore, just because of, like, NDAs and stuff. So I can't talk as much publicly online about games. I'll still, be in Discords and talking on Twitter occasionally, but it just means that I can't be doing this anymore, which sucks. Which is why we're not really sure what's going to happen with the podcast right now. Like Brandon said, this might be the last one, but it depends. Like if Brandon, finds somebody else that he wants to do it with weekly and that kind of thing, then it may continue. But for now, it's up in the air. So don't get your hopes up. And it's been fun whilst we've done it. So if this is the last one, I'd like to thank everyone that has watched. It's been fun doing this almost every week for nearly 2 years now, so I've really enjoyed my time doing it. And if it does continue, I will be like an observer from the distance. So yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been 2 years. It's been such a quick 2 years. It's crazy. Yeah, we started it, I think, like the first week the PS5 came out. And we're almost reaching that 2-year milestone.
Oh, dang.
But also, this episode is special because we do have a guest, Labs. So for people that do not know you, who are you? And just give a brief explanation of what you do.
So I'm WonderingLabs. I'm a Twitch streamer primarily, but I'm like starting to post on YouTube as well. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a friend of a friend Discord. So yeah, a lot of you will know her if you're friends of us. But just for new people, yeah, definitely go check her out. Anyways, we'll ask her some questions so you can get to better understand her in a bit. But we always start off these episodes with what we've been playing. So I guess we'll let our guest Lab start off. So in terms of gaming, what have you been playing over like the last week or so?
I haven't been playing too much just because this week has been pretty busy. But I've been playing Last of Us Part 1 quite a bit along with Strikers. That's like been my main game primarily for like the past, I don't know, month or something. And pretty much just Rocket League and some Fortnite here and there.
Right on. You said Strikers?
Yeah, Persona Strikers, yeah.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, Persona Strikers.
Nice. And Charlie, what about you?
Well, I'm a massive hypocrite and I bought Last of Us. So even after I said that I wasn't gonna buy it, I was sat there on. I was there on day of release and I was watching videos. I was actually watching Skill Up's review, which is really good, by the way. But I was watching that and I was like, I really want to replay the game. And I was kind of going back and forth on it. And I decided to buy it in the end. I think, like, I want to say halfway through. I can't remember, like, whereabouts. Like, I've just met up with Sam and Henry, which I think is about halfway, right?
Oh, nice. I think so. Yeah. Like halfway.
So that's where I'm up to. I played it quite a bit last weekend, and then I haven't really touched it this week just because I've been busy wrapping up with work. But outside of that, I did reinstall Cyberpunk just because they had some new announcements for that, but I haven't really played any. I literally went on it to make sure that cross-save was working. I've played a bit more Destiny 2, as per usual with me. And then also Splatoon 3 did come out today at the time of recording, so I've played a few hours of that today. Not a ton, so I played a few matches in multiplayer, and then did like the prologue-y type bit of the single player, which seems pretty cool so far. I guess Splatoon wise as well, I did go and beat the like Octo expansion during the week because I've had that since it came out like 4 years ago or something and just never played it. So I finally went ahead and beat that before 3 came out, which was pretty good. But yeah, that's about it. I haven't really played much else.
Right on. Octo expansion, one of the best DLC campaigns I can think of. Really love that one. In terms of what I've been playing, not terribly much because obviously I did leave to go back to my family's for last weekend because it's my birthday. Trying to think of, we skipped a week, right? So yeah, I did play some Destiny 2 in the meantime of that. I almost did the raid, but there was like some scheduling conflicts just because of my school, so I wasn't able to play with my main group. Still really fun. Besides that, I did pick up The Last of Us Part 1. That's been mainly what I've been playing. I played a bit of it, like almost halfway through. I think I'm about to meet Henry and Sam. I just got to the part where Ellie had like the hunting rifle, or whatever, and was like protecting Joel. It's like right after that hotel sequence. So really close to Henry and Sam. Definitely really liking it. I don't think you need to buy it if you've already played the game, obviously. But for me, it's just like Last of Us is a game I always come back to and I want to replay like multiple times. In like a given year or so. So the fact that I can replay it with like PS5 graphics and the AI is a lot better. Yeah, it's just the best way to play it, and I've been really enjoying it. Feels like I'm playing it for the first time, oddly enough. Yeah. Besides that, not much. Multiverses I've been playing a bit. Played some Fortnite with Labs and friends. But I think that's about it. And yeah, we'll move on to the releases this week. So we'll cover Last of Us Part 1 because that was last week and we didn't record last week. So yeah, $70, PS5 exclusive. Yeah, I'm sure everyone knows what that game is. And then Splatoon 3 is out today, the day of recording. So yeah, very exciting. I am debating on picking this up. I probably will try to pick it up. If I can get my Wi-Fi working on my Switch, I'll definitely pick it up because I love Splatoon 2. It's a fun multiplayer shooter. But anyways, figured we'd throw in this little segment here just to get to know Labs a bit more on the podcast. Just some, basic questions, nothing too serious, but yeah, we'll go through them just so people on the podcast that are listening can better understand your interests and how you got into gaming. So yeah, I'll start off with the first question, and that's how did you get into gaming?
Okay, so I must have been like around maybe 4 years old. My cousin had like a PlayStation 2 in his house, and like I remember like walking into his house and he had like a Lego Star Wars game in the screen, and I was like, what is this? And like he lent me the controller and I just started playing, and that's how it started. I don't know, like it was so random, but he's mainly the reason why I started playing. And then like obviously throughout the years I've like slowly found different games and genres that I like, so yeah.
Right on. I think PS2, GameCube is also like the first like console that I was aware of. So definitely relate to that. Good era for sure.
It was so fun.
I know, and we got like actually,
but
we got good licensed games too. Like a bunch of those Nickelodeon games are good and stuff like that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, I love those. Those were the best.
All right, we'll pivot into anime for the next question. So, what are your top 3 animes?
God. My top 3. Can I say top 4?
Top 4, sure.
All right, so it's Naruto, obviously, Haikyuu, Fruits Basket, and Attack on Titan.
Nice.
You don't have Grand Blue on that list? Come on, what's going on?
I know.
No,
the only one I've watched. Come on.
Grand Blue. I'm sure it's somewhere in there. Maybe like top 10, 15. Yeah.
I do not condone Grand Blue
there.
for everyone watching. Haikyuu, is that the one with the volleyball?
It is. It's so
I want to start that.
Dude.
I want to start that.
I think it's also like my top favorite because it was like the first anime I watched. So it's like, okay,
Nice. Attack on Titan, solid pick.
Really good, yeah.
Which, speaking of which, Charlie still has yet to watch Attack on Titan. Crazy.
You should watch it, Charlie.
I know.
I promise
should.
it's like, to
be fair, I have got like nearly 2 weeks off, so I probably should think of stuff to watch. So maybe that'll be on the list. Maybe I'll binge it all. If they've still got like the final part, right? If the final season.
Yeah, the final third.
Yes, they have that
next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now is the perfect time to watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like
I
in
feel
4
like
months.
you said that to me like a year ago, though.
Well, okay, but like we thought part 2 was like the final bit of the season, and then the map was like, nah. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like, no, thank you. we're
All
gonna
right.
make another part.
Similar question. Top 3 games.
Top 3 games. Okay, well, obviously Last of Us. Like, that's like my number one. And then I would probably say Nier and Uncharted 4.
Damn.
Yeah.
Solid picks.
Yeah.
And then
pretty good
to bring
ones.
it back to modern, what is like currently your most anticipated game if you have one?
Anticipated game?
Mm-hmm.
Probably Spider-Man, like the second one. I think that's
Nice.
my... Yeah. It's probably a little
Might
while
see
till it
some
comes
more
out,
of it
but
today at the Disney showcase.
Maybe,
I'm
maybe.
excited.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh, that'd be fantastic.
Yes.
I'd
Cool.
love to see.
Yeah. That's all we had. Just some light questions for people to get,
Wow.
to know your gaming interest and a little bit
Gotcha,
of anime in there,
gotcha.
as we sometimes do on this podcast. So, yeah.
Anime. All right.
Yes. We'll move on to the gaming news segment. Not terribly much. We'll probably get through this pretty quick. I imagine the podcast won't be terribly long this week, but some cool
Yeah.
news to throw in here. The first one is probably the highlight of the week for me, probably you too, I imagine, Charlie. And that's the fact that Firewall Ultra was announced for PSVR 2. It's going to be an updated version of the game with new maps, operators, some PvE co-op missions, and obviously utilizing the PSVR 2 headset, so things like foveated rendering, eye tracking. I know Labs won't be able to speak on this news story too much, but this is one of the better multiplayer shooters that were on PlayStation VR. Just a really good CS:GO-like game. Yeah, Charlie and I played quite a bit of the first one. It had some issues, but it seems like they're addressing every single big complaint. I know that one of the main issues was that you'd be waiting a long time to find a match, and when you finally got into a match, it'd only be one round and then it'd be over. There was no
Yeah,
best
and
of
they kick
3
you
or
back
something
into
like
the
that.
menu.
Yeah, so they're doing a best of 3, which is really good. And then obviously the PSVR tracking and just ultimately the tech was holding back that headset. So, that will, utilize it. I'm really looking forward to this. It was kind of weird how they just announced this out of nowhere. I would have imagined that this would have been at a showcase, but maybe they're planning on going into a deep dive at the next showcase or something like that, or maybe they just have too much at the showcase that this was one they had to kick out. But either way, a really exciting announcement because yeah, we were I've been saying PSVR 2 at a technical standpoint sounds amazing, but so far we just have to see more software, and having this alongside that Horizon game and Resident Evil Village is certainly exciting. So Charlie, what'd you think about that?
Yeah, this was kind of out of nowhere. Although interestingly, I know the devs that make this. I can't think of what their name is off the top of my head. Is it First Contact? Something like that.
First Contact sounds. I'll look it up.
Something like that, yeah. They tweeted a week or two ago saying that they wanted to talk about what they were working on next, their anniversary, but it wasn't something happened, so it wasn't quite ready. So I don't know if maybe this trailer was planned for a PSVR event that got delayed or something. I don't know. Because they did also say they're going to be showing off gameplay relatively soon. So maybe the plan was to announce it fully at an event, and now they're just going to show off gameplay there. But yeah, interesting fact with Firewall, that if you've been on the Discord, you would have seen this, but it's one of the first times that me and Brandon interacted outside of Robin Gaming's community. Because
Yeah.
I knew Brandon kind of through Robin Gaming stuff, and then Brandon tweeted a clip of Firewall, and I replied to him on Twitter, and that's how we first started talking about playing games and stuff together. So Firewall brought us together. So yeah, no,
That's cool.
I'm looking forward to playing the new one. It sounds like it'll be really cool. I know they've got dedicated servers now as well, which is pretty big for the game. So yeah, hopefully this will be on launch as well, because having a big multiplayer game on launch day would be really cool. Because I mean, the first PSVR, I guess all it had was rigs, which wasn't that great. So yeah, this would be a much bigger get to have it on day one. The only worry that if it is on day one is player base wise, depending on how much it is, because if you have this launching alongside Horizon, what are people going to want to buy more? Probably Horizon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how that'll work out, but I'm still definitely excited to see more of it.
I think it'll be the Splatoon 2 for the Switch, where it's it'll come out maybe a few months after the headset's been out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's like you said, it would be a good launch title, because it's nice to have a good multiplayer game, especially a beloved IP from the original headset on day one. But if we have things like a new Astrobot game, and we have Resident Evil Village and a new Horizon game, it's there's definitely gonna be a lot of players that are gonna play those games obviously over this new multiplayer game. So yeah, we'll see how they decide to space it out, but
Also, how much
way,
they
very
charge
excited.
for it.
Yeah,
Because
because
like,
yeah, if this is like
how
a
much are
full
they gonna charge
$70
for the
game,
Horizon game?
I hope this
Like,
game isn't $70. But
like, yeah, I don't
yeah,
know.
I know Labs, you don't know much about PSVR, but are you looking into possibly getting a PSVR 2 or anything like that?
Probably not for a while. Yeah,
Fair.
because I have
Yeah.
the Oculus and I
Quest.
barely even use it, so I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it probably wouldn't be the best thing ever to like do that
Hmm.
right now.
Hopefully they do
So,
those like demo stations because I remember VR wasn't even on my radar. But then I went to PlayStation Experience one year. I snuck in because I was underage, and then I tried PlayStation VR there like a year before it came out, and I was like blown away.
oh, that's
Yeah, your only
nice.
experience in VR is Quest too, right?
Yeah, that's the only experience. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully you'll be able to try out PSVR 2 in somewhere or another. I think you'll be
Okay.
impressed by console VR. But yeah, we'll move on to another news story. This is about Ubisoft Forward. So Ubisoft Forward is happening this weekend. Probably by the time this episode comes out, this will be old news because they're gonna officially announce this stuff. But the current rumors right now is that they're gonna be announcing like a ton of Assassin's Creed titles. One of the bigger ones being Assassin's Creed Mirage. I know this one was publicly confirmed, right, Charlie? Mirage.
Yeah, this one they've
Hmm.
confirmed after a lot of it leaked.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's basically like not a full like Assassin's Creed game seems to be how they're teasing it online. So it's kind of like a standalone expansion where you're playing as I think one of the characters from Valhalla, like when they're younger or something. But it's meant to be a lot more contained and similar to like the early Assassin's Creed games. So none of
Hmm.
like the massive open world and like levels and gear and stuff. I think it's meant to basically just be a return to form for the series, which gets me more interested because Valhalla kind of put me off a lot of the Assassin's Creed stuff for a while. I've tried to play it multiple
Yeah.
times and I just can't get through it just because of how grindy it is. So it'd be
Hmm.
nice to have a normal Assassin's Creed game again. And yeah, there's like you were saying, there's been some rumors of like some of the other like live service titles that are like coming out in a year or two. For that, I can't think what it's called, like Assassin's Creed Infinity or something like that.
Yeah, it's like
Was the working
yeah.
title. So I think there's rumors of a couple of titles for that being announced. Maybe that VR game will be here. I don't know because I feel like there was a lot of rumors about that earlier in the year with like playtests and stuff. So um, maybe that gets shown off as well since they've got like this blowout during Ubisoft Forward. But I don't know. I feel like it would be a bad idea from Ubisoft to have like 40 out of 60 minutes of the showcase be all Assassin's Creed. But I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no kidding. Is Mirage out this year or is it like early next year? Do we know?
I think it's meant to be spring next year.
Okay,
I think.
interesting. Labs, have you played any Assassin's Creed or no?
Yeah, only one of them though. I think it was oh my gosh, what's it called? It was with like this guy from France or whatever. Is there
Oh,
multiple in
Unity.
France? Yeah,
Probably
that's the one I played. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty good. Yeah, but I haven't played
Nice.
Yeah,
any
Unity's
others.
pretty cool.
Unity got a
Yeah.
lot of hate because of the bugs, but I thought that was a pretty solid campaign. It's cool.
I thought it was really good too. I remember hearing about the hate and I was like, "What? This is like
That was
really
that was like
fun."
one of the last ones before it became an RPG, right, Charlie? One of
Yeah,
them.
you had that and then Syndicate, which
Syndicate,
was
that's
like
right.
Syndicate flopped because of Unity, and then
Yeah,
Oh,
Origins was
dang.
like a few years after because they did the reboot.
yeah.
Mm.
It's crazy how this series has changed. I almost feel like it has a different fan base now that it went to RPG. So,
Yeah.
yeah, weird. But yeah, that'll be cool to see once that's officially confirmed. Anyways, this next news story is pretty cool, a little bit small. Cobra Kai had a game, I think it came out like a few years ago, and the sequel was announced this week for all major platforms like PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch, coming later this year. Not a surprise. Cobra Kai it's like a huge series. I mean, for Netflix, it's
Yeah.
like one of the ones they actually renew, so that tells you a lot. It's just a huge fan base, obviously, from the original Karate Kid, and smart to dip that into like the games. I saw the trailer. It didn't look like crazy impressive, but it definitely looked like a big improvement gameplay wise from the first one. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'll pick it up. Probably just depends on what I'm playing around that time. If it's later this year, probably won't pick it up this year because there's too many games coming out this year. But still exciting nonetheless. I know Charlie, you played the original one, right?
Yeah, I only played it this year actually. I played it with some people from work and stuff. I had a lot of fun with it. It's very basic, and it wasn't like a very long game or like very in depth, but it was just a fun like beat 'em up. This one looks a bit more interesting because it's a bit more like 3D, and so it looks like there's a bit more depth to it and moves and things. I don't like I want to get it, but because it's out this year, I'm like, depending on when it comes out, I'll probably end up skipping it. Um,
Oh.
just because unless it's like start of October, that because I want to play Mario and Rabbids, but I still need to go through like the DLC and stuff for the first one, so I don't know if I'll pick that up on day one.
Same.
So it depends on when this is coming out. I think they said fall this year, and I'm like, I feel like are we already in fall? Like we've got to be, right? So
Yeah.
like
Kind of.
they,
Yeah.
I feel like there's not that many months it can come out in. So I don't know. It has to be out like by November, I guess. And I don't know if
Yeah.
you'd release it like October, November. So I don't know. It's a weird one, but depending on when it comes out, I might pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah, right on. I know, Labs, you don't know much about Cobra Kai. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it
No.
for sure.
We'll
New
see.
season's out today, by the way. Yeah, no, Charlie,
really?
You're 7 episodes
Yeah.
in. Yeah, it's weird. Like usually seasons are like at least a year apart, but like season 4, I believe was the last one, was in like December, like December 31st. I think it was like something like that. And already we're
Oh.
getting season 5, 9 months later. I know it's because they filmed the
Dang.
seasons back to back, but still surprising that like,
It's
yeah,
fast. Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Series is so popular. I'm definitely gonna start it tonight once I'm done with my class. But yeah, exciting for sure. There's actually a news story that I didn't put on the doc, but found this out by Josh, my kind of friend of the podcast. He messaged me about it. Tokyo Game Show next week. They're gonna be doing an update on One Piece Odyssey, so we're probably gonna get a release date finally for that game. It's weird because like
You had
they
to
said it's
sneak
coming
it
out
in
this
each week.
year. I have to sneak it in each week, yeah. No, I actually forgot about this,
One
but they're
Piece.
going to be doing an update next week at Tokyo Game Show, hopefully giving us a release date. I agree with Josh. He thought it was going to get delayed. I think it's going to get delayed because there's no way they're going to like announce it's coming out in November and like,
Yeah.
September. It's, yeah, probably going to be like early next year. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing more of that game. Looks really fun.
Is it
But,
gonna be like a fighter game or?
It's going to be a RPG, so it's going to be a JRPG
Oh,
or
okay.
turn-based game, which is cool. Because I don't
Gotcha, gotcha.
like the reason like I'm actually excited for this game is like most anime games are all like these fighting games where it's like there's a bunch of people on
Yeah.
the screen and you just like crowd mash like a bunch of people with like basic moves.
Yeah.
Like those games are satisfying and fun to play, but like yeah, like a JRPG
They
is
get
a genre I
tiring.
like. Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking forward to having an anime game that's a JRPG, which will be cool to see. Hopefully it does
Nice,
well.
nice.
Same composer that does the Tales of Arise, or Tales of series and Dark Souls, so should have some good music too. And yeah. Anyways, Cyberpunk got some cool information this week. Obviously, I think the Netflix show, is it out yet or it's about to come out? Called
it's
Edge
next
Runners. Yeah, and they did like a little preview for it, and obviously like did some cool stuff with the game, the base game, and teased one of the expansions. So, huge update just recently came out this week called 1.6. They added some like new missions to tie in with the anime that's coming out next week. Just some basic gigs like that.
Nice.
I know they added some new weapons, some more character customization, cross progression, as Charlie hinted at earlier. So now that you can bring like your PC saved to console and vice versa, which is cool. Didn't expect that. So yeah, cool to see the game getting a lot more love. And then at the very end, they teased the first major expansion called Phantom Liberty. It really is just like a teaser trailer. It's like less than a minute long, just showcasing like the visuals and like where you'll be. And then they kind of like teased the return of Johnny Silverhand, I believe his name is, obviously played by Keanu Reeves. So definitely really excited about that since he's gonna be coming back. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like all these little like updates that they do. I mean, not like little updates, but they've been doing like a lot of RPG aspect changes, which is like big for a lot of people that felt disappointed by the base game. But I always loved it just for like the campaign and the characters. So the fact that we're getting like some more story content like this, and hopefully introducing some new locations, that's what I really want to see in terms of updates. So I definitely plan to return to Cyberpunk once this first expansion comes out. Looking forward to that. But yeah, Charlie, what did you think about this?
Yeah, same as you. Like, I'm really looking forward to whenever this does come out next year. They didn't say like a time frame next year, so I mean, I guess they're leaving it open to get delayed again because this was meant to come out this year. So, like, I don't know when we'll get it. Hopefully earlier, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's later in the year. I know they said that before it comes out, they're planning to do a couple reworks to some systems. So like, they said that they're finally going to be properly like revamping the police system in the game.
Oh my god, finally.
Because they haven't touched it since like a few months after launch, when they basically just changed it so that police don't spawn like behind you and stuff, like out of nowhere. So they're finally going to change that, and I think they said they're revamping like vehicle combat. So like when you're shooting in vehicles and things, which I'm like, it's kind of cool, but you never really do it in the game. So I don't really know why they're revamping it unless there's a lot of it in the expansion. That's the only thing I can think, because there's not really any car chases in the game. I think there's probably 2 in the story, and that's about it.
Usually you're the one driving, yeah.
And yeah, you're either the one driving or you're just in the passenger seat. You never do both. So I don't know if they're planning to add maybe police car chases and stuff. But yeah, definitely interested in the expansion. It looks like you're going to be joining like the military or something, which is weird. I know they've said like the expansions aren't set after the ending, kind of like Witcher 3's stuff. So it's set during the main story, so they can kind of do whatever. Just like he's doing a side thing during that plot. But yeah, definitely excited for it. I think they said size-wise, it's going to be kind of like in between Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, so it's probably going to be a pretty sizable expansion. So either a lot of content or just a very long storyline. So yeah, definitely looking forward to this one.
Cool. Labs, you haven't played Cyberpunk, I know. Are you interested in the game at all, or what are your thoughts on Cyberpunk?
I am, actually. Yeah, I've seen my brother play it a little bit, and it actually looks pretty decent, so I may get around to it someday.
Yeah, Charlie and I were like big advocates for the game when it first came out, because a lot of people were obviously slandering it for like good reasons, because obviously it was broken on console. But I think there's definitely been like a tone shift. We've even seen that in like Aniva. I know Warlock defends the game now, Josh A does too. So cool to see people enjoying the story and stuff. And yeah. Anyways, we'll move on to our last news story. This one's pretty big. Obviously, talking and discussing about Call of Duty's future in terms of, where it will be after the Microsoft acquisition of Activision. So essentially what came out this week, like the context of this is I believe Phil Spencer was talking about the deal that they made with PlayStation. They said that they're like going to support it on PlayStation platforms for like several years in the future or something like that. And then Jim Ryan ended up like coming out saying like he didn't want this public, but since Phil Spencer did, he'll discuss it. And he said that like PlayStation was disappointed about like essentially Microsoft's offer. That was like essentially 3 years after the acquisition takes place. So they only promised it would come to PlayStation for 3 more years. And Jim Ryan felt like that for a series that's been on PlayStation for 20 years, that was inadequate. It's interesting what's going on here. I'm wondering what Microsoft's angle on this. I feel like they would probably make more money if they kept it like multi-platform, right? Because like in a few years when PlayStation has like 100 million PS5s like on the market, like just cutting off like a huge game like that from 100 million players, like I'm sure like obviously the reason they would do that is to sell more Xboxes, but Microsoft's kind of been clear that they don't care about selling consoles. They want people just like in the general like space of it. So it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, there's like no right or wrong here. It's all business, right? Like, people have been saying, oh, well, PlayStation does times exclusive, so they shouldn't be complaining. I mean, it's all business at the end of the day. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens to Call of Duty, but like my gut feeling is that it's just going to stay there because I feel like the current way it is right now, that's where you make the most money. But yeah, Charlie, what'd you think about this? Do you have any like opinions on sides or anything like that? Or yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see both sides of the argument. Because it's like, I get why Microsoft want to do it. Because obviously having COD as just, you can only get it on PC and Xbox is a massive selling point for a lot of console players to get an Xbox over PlayStation, right? So I get it because COD was a massive part of that Activision Blizzard acquisition. So obviously they're going to want to include something like that in there. But at the same time, like you were saying, when there's like tens of millions of PS5s on the market, why wouldn't they just want to release it on PS5 as well? Because it's just more money. They do it already with Minecraft, right? Like all the games still release on PlayStation and Switch. So why wouldn't they just do that with COD? I know there's been some discussion of this wouldn't happen anyway because there's like a lot of stuff going on with like the UK at the moment to do with the acquisition, and as far as I know, the UK government's been a bit weird about it. just because they're worried that it's going to have a bit of a stranglehold on the industry because of all the acquisitions going on at the moment. So they're kind of going over all of the terms, and I think one of them being, COD could potentially go exclusive, was a big part of that, just because COD is such a synonymous name with PlayStation and Xbox and just gaming in general. But then at the same time, when PlayStation are saying, it's an inadequate deal, like these guys are known for exclusives and Xbox are not. So like, if Xbox wanna have a big exclusive, like yeah, if I was Jim Ryan, like I get it, he's gonna lose some money, but at the end of the day, like you always pride your company on having these big blockbuster exclusives, and also saying that you're going to be doing more multiplayer stuff. So you're probably planning on working on some kind of first-person shooter that could potentially compete with Call of Duty and Battlefield and those kind of games. So, yeah, it seems a bit hypocritical from him, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think it's a bit petty as well with the whole like, oh well, he's talked about it in public, so now I'm going to talk. I wasn't going to, but now I am. I'm like, sure, mate, sure. You just want to be in the press, so yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting one because it's just these two like heads of the company just basically just taking jabs at each other across the internet, and everyone's just kind of watching. So
yeah, it's interesting because like Microsoft's like. Now it's like if Halo isn't where it used to be, we'll just buy Call of Duty and that'll be our new shooter. Yeah, the PlayStation acquired Bungie, but they're planning on keeping that multi-platform, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's a different story since that's kind of like an MMO that's already exists on Xbox, but yeah, interesting for sure. Yeah, ultimately I kind of already gave my thoughts. Lab, do you have any thoughts on everything like this? I don't know if you know
Not
anything about
really.
this news story much.
No.
Yeah, it's all big PR stuff. Well, don't think it'll be that big of a deal, but we'll see. Anyways, yeah, that's actually been it for all the gaming news this week. Not terribly much. There is like a Disney Marvel showcase happening today, which will like showcase Amy Hennig's game. Guess we could throw this in right now that there's like a current rumor that what was it again, Charlie? It's like a Black Panther and Captain America in World War II.
yeah, that's the current rumor that's been corroborated by VGC and Eurogamer. So I mean, people will know that are watching this if it's true or not because it will get shown off later today. But yeah, that is looking like that's the game they're working on. I don't think they said if it's co-op or not in the article though.
Yeah, it's sad that we won't have a PlayStation showcase before Charlie leaves the podcast, but it is what it is. Yeah, but guess just thank you guys for all the support for the podcast. It's been nice to do this consistently for nearly 2 years. It's always been fun just, chatting or like really, just unprofessionally off the cuff just on gaming news each week. And it's been like a fun, like loose way to just talk and discuss about the latest things, almost like we're streaming or something like that. It's been fun. Yeah, Charlie kind of gave his final words, but yeah, I appreciate Charlie for doing this. It's been really fun talking with you. Been very knowledgeable in the gaming industry. It's been fun, natural conversations, and it'll definitely feel weird without you if I continue it. But yeah, also want to thank Labs for joining us this week. Just wanted to throw in a guest before we ended this podcast, and you felt like a natural fit since we talked to you quite a bit. So yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
For sure. Anyways, that's been it, everyone, for episode 80. Make sure to join the Discord because that Discord is not going anywhere. Charlie obviously might not be talking in there as much just because he kind of can't. But, all of us are still going to be in there. I know Labs is in there, a bunch of people from Aniba. So definitely go join that now more than ever if you have not yet done so. So, yeah, that being said, I've been Online or Brandon, possibly for the last time. This has been Critically Incorrect. We'll see you next time, possibly. And if not, take care.
See you later.
Peace.